Beep boop. We be live. How loud is the music? Is that good? I'll turn it up in my own ears a bit. Oh. Progress of the boy. I'm gonna take my watch off. Oh, I've got really severe watch strap lines. The strap's a little bit too tight. Probably a good thing that I ordered a new one. We've made some progress off stream with this boy. Just a bit. Just a little tiny bit. Last time I had like just painted the metal kind of metal color and that was kind of it. No, I did some of the leather as well. But since then, hello Bashimi. Yeah, this is progress on the boy. It's really weird trying to figure out where I'm showing it to on a camera that's this angle. What way am I tilting? There we go. That way. And the glaive. Pretty happy with how the horns have turned out as well. Roar. We're not going to be doing airbrushing this stream. I know I said last stream that I'm going to try and get to a point where I can airbrush this stream. I'm not quite there. I could start on him, but I wouldn't be ready to do it on any of the other models, which would be a really short amount of airbrushing for a stream. So we're going to just finish up him, because I've just got to put some highlights on his body, because right now he's just straight up black. He's just a monochrome. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to finish all of these boys, or get these boys as far as we can to a point where I can start airbrushing them next stream. And also we'll do some transfers, because transfers are fun, and we'll actually put some transfers on these guys, but I've got to do all the shading on the bits that I'm going to transfer first, so that the transfer can go over the top. Balrog at home painting session 2. Maybe this time we'll get 10 minutes of uninterrupted painting. Well, George isn't here this week, so we should get more painting done, because we're not going to be going on a classic British TV or meme tangent every 5 seconds. What's a transfer? I should probably actually get them if I want to use them. They're these. So they're little symbols and stuff that you put water on, and then it comes away, and then you put it on the model, and then you put stuff on it to make it look good, and then do like a coat over it. Hang on, I can show an example. Come on, camera. Where are we? There we go. There we are. This, he has a transfer on him. This is one I've already done. They're kind of like stickers, but they're like fancy stickers. So like his banner. Oh, I'm trying to figure out this camera is hard. His banner and his shoulder are transfers. And his knee. And also the loincloth on the Balrog has a few. But yeah, so you use this stuff, so you've got Microset and Microsol. You use this stuff to get it to stick to the surface really well and like prep it. and then this stuff lightly dissolves it, which makes it like stretchier and more pliable, which makes it like conform to the shape of the surface better. And then you do like a clear coat of paint, like either glossy or matte, over top, so that the transfer is now like sealed onto it. And the goal is to basically make it look as flat and like painted on as possible. So I've got some of the like the good guys, and I have some of the bad guys, and because I'm doing like traitor marines, they have like a bit of both. So we will hopefully get around to doing some of that today. Artemis. She's hopped up on a place that she's not allowed to be. She started doing that. It's literally today. You're not allowed to be up there.
Who invited you?
She's Grebe. Bishimi says hi.
Hello.
So yeah, anyway, we're going to try and finish this guy. So all I will be doing, like all that's left to do on this guy, is to use a slightly lighter grey than the black to highlight all the risen bits. And then we'll be using a shade, which is a very runny paint, to go over it to darken all of the crevices. And then he will be done other than glowing. Thank you so much. Oh, I am going to prep him for glowies. So all the bits that are going to be glowing, especially on the glaive, all the cracks, which are going to have magma in them, I'm going to fill them in with white so that I can airbrush over that a lot easier, and then I can touch in the highlights once all the airbrushing's done to get all the colour how I want it in the gaps. We might do some of that on his body. I don't know how I'm going to do the glowing specifically on his body yet. I haven't decided. We shall see. You're going to bed? Okay, good night. Love you too. You're wondering how I was going to do the magma? Yeah, so we'll do it in white so that paint will go over it really easily. And then I will airbrush over all the cracks with white, but just a very light dusting of white. And then I'll do an orange on top of that with the airbrush, which will be the glow. And then on top of that orange, I will then colour in like the oranges and yellows and whites to actually make it look all fiery and glowy. And that's how I will create the magma. But then on his body, I don't know how I'm going to do it, because I want it to look like all the veins and like recesses in him are glowing, but I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. So we shall see. But first, we paint. I have some grey. That is where we are going to begin. Paint shaking ASMR. I purged a little bit of the music from this playlist and I added a bit more. So anything under a minute got purged because they're all really short and random. Oh my god, the gnats are already here because they like this light. I don't know if they're coming from one of Leo's plants or something, but I am being plagued by those tiny little gnat flies at the moment. And anytime I have this light on, they're just like, they're here. And this is all they want to be. And it's really annoying. She has left. I heard her cough and then she disappeared. Who knows? The music's a bit loud. Ah. I can turn that down. That's fine. Is that better? I can turn it down a bit more. Just turn it up in my ears. It's probably because the microphone's a bit further away for these streams than it is normally, so I'm a bit quieter. Right, shall we start the greying? I'm really proud of how this guy's horns turned out. I think they look really good. I'm like, I want to do the glowy idea on the horns as well, but part of me is like, What if I ruin them? What if I make the horns look bad? I'm also gonna do his eyes and mouth are gonna be glowy, so we'll also do that. Alright, do we think that this grey is shaken up enough yet? Is this grey shooketh? Glowing horns would look fire. I think they'd look really cool, like if the crevices are like glowing a deep red or something. But the problem is, can I pull it off? That's the challenge. Does Spotify have like loudness equalization on or something? This song feels a lot quieter than the other one. I mean, to be fair, it is a quieter song, but I don't know how to adjust it. Playback. Edit preferences. Explicit content, fine. Why is streaming quality is set to low? Hello? I got Spotify Premium. The whole point of that is that the streaming quality should be very high. Auto adjust quality? No. Normalize volume? No. Turn it up slightly. Let's see if that's better. Because this normalized volume never works how they intend it to work. Paint. Let's move my keyboard a little bit. Do we want to, it doesn't matter if my paint pot's visible or not. Does it? Not really. I'm gonna want a slightly bigger brush, I think. Alright, where shall we start? And how visible is this? I'm gonna want to scooch over so that I can. Is this brush maybe a little bit too big? It's really hard doing this when I've got all this stuff in front of my face. Not the bandits, yeah, the bandits. My stream's being invaded while painting. Why won't you die? Kind of lightly brush that over on his leg. See, the shade will fill in a lot of that anyway. So just as long as the bulk looks like it's been highlighted a bit. And being a lot less precise than I would like. I think it's the brush. I might need to swap to the more precise one. I think I should do a Skyrim mod where all the voices are just me, like every single one. You're trying to find the one last enemy that's making it impossible to teleport flashbacks, yeah. The one last enemy that's fallen down a hole somewhere. This is going to be a much more chill stream. The stream was originally going to be called Minis and Memes, and then I messaged George, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm away. I thought I told you," and I was like, "Oh." So there's probably not going to be as many memes or minis because I'm not going to think of them on my own. I only think of things like that when I'm like having conversation, you know? I'm not funny when I'm on my own. This is why my YouTube channel's failing. Problem is I don't want to do him too grey. I just want the highlights because otherwise he's going to be the same colour as like his hooves and the scythe because they're this grey. But they do have lighter highlights, but I don't want him to be too highlighted. I want him to still be dork. No memes, only painting, Sigma grind set. I gotta get all this painting done because I may or may not have pre-ordered Scaventide, and I've basically told myself that I'm not allowed to start painting any of the new models until I've finished the other projects I have going on, which is like this mini, those guys there, and also like 2 other armies. Scaventide is the new Warhammer Age of Sigmar set. Age of Sigmar grind set, am I right? Let me get... It will be one of the few distractions because it literally won't take long. But yeah, it's a set coming out. And also me and Leo went to Games Workshop the other day and they had the set physically there. You couldn't buy it yet because it's still pre-order, but they had the models out to show you. And they're so cool. Seeing them in person, they're so cool. So basically it's the Skaven, which are these rat boys, versus the Stormcast Eternals, which are like the Paladini Knights. Do we have any better pictures? Is that just a few of the models? You got some rat ogres but yeah, just some of the models are so cool. There's one of the models I'm really looking forward to is this one. I don't know if they have a better picture of it. Can I just see I want to just see the models as Stormcasts. The Stormcasts are cool as well, but I've wanted to start a Skaven army for a while. And one of the guys at Games Workshop was like, "We think there's a Skaven set coming, so hold off." And then a Skaven set happened, and I was like, "Where is it?" So those are the rat ogres. They're pretty cool. But this boy. It's a Gatling gun or a rattling gun, but he's on wheels. There are rattling gun models in other sets that are just like the rats with miniguns, and like the ammo is carried by other rats. But this one's a giant gun on wheels with rats that push it, and I love that so much. You wish you had friends to play RPG with. These games are awesome. Yeah, unlike I'm kind of the same. I don't play Warhammer. I just collect and paint the minis. As much as I would absolutely love to actually play it. But George was the only person I really played it with. And now I live like a 3.5 hour drive away, so that doesn't really happen anymore. Right, let's swap brush. Because this one's it's not quite precise enough. But yeah, I'm looking forward to comics are enough of a money pit for you, so it's for the best. Warhammer's expensive as well. But yeah, so I've got the models I've said I'm working on. I also have an army of Space Marines left to paint that are white and red that I've been painting for a while. I've got a whole army of Tyranids, which are like the Zerg from StarCraft. They're the weird little carapaced alien things. I've got a whole army of them to paint. And then I'm allowed to start painting my Skaven. But I'm not allowed to before then. Because otherwise none of my models will ever be finished. Am I even on camera right now? No, I am not. The phone is too big. What side of the phone is the camera on? Ah, it's on the other side of the phone. I might be able to flip it around next stream. The lights are reflecting off the slightly glossy paint and making it really hard to see as well. Right, that side. Let's do like veins to paint. To be honest, it doesn't have to be super precise, just enough that it gives the impression. The shade will bring it all together and make it look more cohesive. I might do 2 coats of the shade just to really darken it and dirty it up. Is that on camera? Yes. It's too late to have technical problems, you're stuck like this forever. Eventually I'll have like a proper camera for doing this. And then I can have it like higher up and then zoom it in, or the opposite, I can have a wider lens so I can have it closer and zoomed out so I can lean in. Because if it's higher up, I'll lean in and then you'll just have my head in the way. I don't know how they do this. I wonder if they might have the camera off to the side or something, rather than like perfectly top down. I don't know. Paint the kneecap, paint the kneecap. Guacamole, guacamole. I went around too much. Oopsie, oh well. That side has been greyed a lot more than that side. But then this side's more tendrily and veiny. It's the veins that I'm highlighting, so... Is that on camera? Like, barely. This is really difficult. I also very much break the cardinal rule of Warhammer. I think I talked about this last time, but a lot of the time I'm too lazy to water down my paints. I'll just go for it. that wasn't really on camera. It was out of focus. What is this? I need to remove this song from the playlist because this is just noise. It's another Skyrim one. But it's like, it's not music. It's just light ambience. Into darkness. Where are you? Where are you? Can I just like right click it? Remove from this playlist. Yep. Straight into some Halo music. What? Cat hair everywhere. What is it actually supposed to be? You won't stop calling it a Balrog at home, but it's nice to know. He's called Rakdos, Rakdos. He's a Magic the Gathering mini. He's like a demon lord. George got it for me for Christmas, but I am very much painting him like a Balrog because I think that's cool. Apart from the metals and the leather, I actually made them look real. I'm really happy with how the rust turned out on his metal, by the way. Like, I gotta say, I did a good job. I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, it's a Magic the Gathering thing. A character from that. But Balrog at home works too. That's not on camera. This is so difficult to keep on camera. How do they do it? I need to get one of those magnifying glasses so that I can see what I'm doing from further away. This is very tense music for mini painting. Right, the under the leg can stay not highlighted because it's literally in shadow. But that's looking pretty nice. That's already giving the leg a little bit more depth, and we haven't even put the shade on it yet. So that's working pretty well. Right, this is where I got to be really precise. Slowly sliding off cam. Yeah, it's really difficult. It's really difficult to stay on camera. Because, like, the perfect spot for how well I can see it with the lighting and with my eyes is just off camera. It's maybe easier to just like lightly just dust it like I'm dry brushing. And again, a lot of the depth and contrast will be brought back with the shade. So anything that does slightly go in the gaps will be fine. Null Noil is known in the Warhammer community as liquid skill, so it will do my job for me. And the same over here. My nail has been through some shit. Oh, all of my nails. They're all... I painted them weeks ago. This one is completely done. Also, ignore the gross. I bite the skin on my fingers. I need to not, but it's very difficult not to. Hard habit to break. It's like I finally stopped biting my nails and the habit was instead replaced by just demolishing the skin, which is worse. Right, one leg and both Tootsies done. You nearly got 50k channel points? Damn. Start redeeming them. You can ask me questions. Never before answered questions. Like, what's my biggest fear? What's the one secret that nobody knows? Where did I bury the bodies? You know, all of those great questions. I think the only time you used it to ask what it was. Oh, go away. Go away, bot. Nobody asked. God, these things are so common. I think I ban like 2 or 3 of those every single stream. Sniped. I don't understand how those bots are so common and how they keep on coming. Twitch just does nothing about them. Then again, are we surprised that Twitch does nothing about something? Probably not. It's like, who's worse at managing their communities, Twitch or YouTube? Because neither of them do a good job. Good God, why did I decide to put like the future of my career potentially in the hands of either of these two companies? Who would you rather hinge your career on, YouTube or Twitch? And I went, hey, why not both? Because I hate everything. Both suck ass in different ways, yeah. Pretty much. The best thing was when YouTube was like, we want queer YouTubers to like grow their voices on our platform, you know? Express who you are and tell everyone. But don't put gay in the title because we will demonetize you. Like, shit. What does anybody do about that? I don't think they do it so much as they used to now, but yeah, there was a time where if you had gay in the title, it was just straight up demonetization. The only online presence you have is on Tumblr, so you very much don't want an audience and hope it will never come. Well, I'm hoping that I can one day, you know, have a big enough audience to make a career out of it. But also the anxiety and, like, insecurity and unsureness that comes with that, not the most fun of things. The doubt is a big thing. Doubt in my own abilities, a doubt in the future of my channel, like, all of it, just constantly there. But yeah, honestly, like, there are times when I wish that some other companies that are big enough would come along and create good alternatives. But there just isn't anything. Like, the best we've got is TikTok, but making money on TikTok is hard enough. But also, I kind of just don't really like TikTok that much. It's just not for me. And it doesn't really suit my type of content, and my type of content always gets shadow banned. Like, without fail. You're going to Dailymotion? What was the... Is it Dailymotion? There's another one I think that I'm thinking of, but it could also just be Dailymotion that I'm thinking of. I mean, there are other platforms for streaming and stuff people use, and for videos, like Floatplane is quite popular. But I don't know enough about it to, like, test it. Laughing, but Dailymotion is shitty enough that entire shows are published and stay for years. Yeah. But it was basically just completely unmoderated, right? Especially if you put a password on a video, you make the password public, but, like, no one goes looking for it to know that there's copyrighted material there underneath that password. Still, it could be worse. You also get just, like, entire episodes and scenes of shows and movies uploaded to Facebook and Instagram, and those are massive websites. You know, Meta can't be like, it's just a shitty little website. It's literally, they're two of the biggest social media platforms on the internet. Run by the lizard man himself. Was it Mark Zuckerberg who slipped up while talking on stage and said, "When I was human"? Or something along those lines? The only true roaches of the internet thrive and survive. Yeah. I want a good website that's like good for creators and viewers. I want to be able to make content and trust that my content's gonna get shown to people, and trust that I'm getting paid for what my views are worth, and also trust that people aren't just getting absolutely fucked by stupid policies like YouTube just randomly going, actually, we've decided that people shouldn't be able to choose if they want mid-rolls on their videos or not. We're just going to turn them on. So if you've deliberately turned them off on all of your videos because you make enough money through like Patreon and you don't want people's viewing experience to be interrupted, fuck you. We're going to turn them on anyway. Or going, hey, previously, if you didn't have enough views and subscribers to be monetized, your video just didn't have ads on it, we're gonna start rolling ads anyway, but you're not gonna get the ad revenue for it. That's gonna be just for us, because fuck you. It's just like, why didn't I get annihilated by the algorithm for streaming too? Yeah, I did. I was like, oh, I'll try out streaming on YouTube. That's a thing that YouTube encourages. Oh, never mind. Fuck me, I guess. These gnats. I need to move this glass so it's not under my light. In the time it took me to fish one of them out of my drink, another one flew into my drink. Lovely. Extra protein, am I right? There's already a couple floating around in my water pot as well. But yeah, YouTube just doesn't make sense, and they keep doing so many anti-consumer practices, and then doing surveys to go, oh, you mean you don't like that thing that we just did without asking? Oopsie, we're not gonna change it back though, bye. The fuck thing is that you were catching an audience by streaming. Yeah, like more of my subscribers were watching my streams than they do on Twitch, because they're subscribed to me on YouTube, not Twitch. But by streaming on YouTube, it fucked my channel over. It was like, cool, thanks YouTube. Thanks for making this a really like a hospitable platform to create my content on. Because needing to stream and create content on a separate platform to my main platform as a necessity is really stupid. But that's how it be. Like, I'd love to not have to try and split my audience across multiple platforms, but these services are set up in a way that you kind of have to. And what's wild is that YouTube is a competitor of Twitch. You know, they want you to stream on YouTube because they get money. They don't get money from me streaming on Twitch. But then when I stream on YouTube, they screw my channel over. So I can't win. That's not on camera, was it? Big bicep. Bicep? No, that's a leg. That's a thigh muscle. The quads? What are they called? I'm so focused, you almost don't want to tell me when I sync out of cam. No, I honestly do, because I need to get into the habit of, like, staying on camera. I really need like a little monocle with a magnifying glass on it. Nice. Just get a bit more of the leggy under here. Like there. Is that on camera? Just about. Some of that is leggy there. And a bit more under there. The steampunk Ingner swagger? What? Engineer? Are you trying to say engineer? Are you okay, Bushimi? Are you having a stroke? Baines Don's having a strong call of bondulance. Right. The leggies are leggied. Done. Stream over. Now for the armies. I've already painted more of this guy than I did in the whole of the last stream. I blame George. It's all his fault. I think that's a glass harmonica playing in this song. That's wild. That's a rare instrument. The last stream was hard on your psyche, so this is fine. The last stream was a bit of a trip. I got a copyright strike on that. And it was on the fucking Chodelip foreskin babies. So, you know, karma, I guess. I love Slime Rancher music. It's so chill. We still in frame? Ah, not quite. Like, if I move the camera back, the problem is if I move the camera back, like, you're just gonna see my crotch. It's just gonna be a shot of my crotch. This is like Sisyphus, but instead of going up the hill, you just slowly slide down. Well, that's what it is, isn't it? He slowly has to battle his way up, just to slowly watch that stone roll down again and push it back up. Armor's done. I mean, there's the bit like right in there, but it's not that visible, to be honest. There are multiple gnats in here. There's 3 in there. It's great. Where the hell are they all coming from? We don't even have our windows open. Like, that's the wild thing. We use air conditioning, so the windows are all closed. I haven't had problems with any other bugs this year that I normally have problems with, like moths and crane flies and stuff. And yet the gnats... just bought the Poetic Edda and was wondering if I've ever read on mythology. I've not specifically read Edda. However, I have read Neil Gaiman wrote a book about mythology, but not like, you know, like a comic or anything, like an actual mythology book. And it's really good. I genuinely recommend it. So I've read that. Me having beef with insects, typical. Yep. I hate bugs. They are the worst. You know, there are bugs that at most I tolerate. You know, because they're a necessity. I tolerate bees. I don't have to like them, but I tolerate them. But gnats are just annoying because they like land on your eyeball. And it's like, hey, I hope you weren't using that. Like, how the fuck did any animal evolve to have such a low survival instinct that it will just land on a creature thousands of times its size and just land on their fucking eyeball? We talk about how incredible evolution is and, like, you know, how everything has got to the point it is through evolution and how amazing and, like, you know, nature is an incredible artist. And then you've got shit like fucking gnats, which are just the worst. They're just a plague on the entirety of the planet. And if I could eradicate every single gnat from this fucking planet, I would. What do you say it's called? Gnat. Yeah, like G-N-A-T. I'm not sure what their actual name is. The tiny little fucking, like, fruit flies, I think. Is it a fruit fly? Gnat. A gnat is any of many species of flying insect. Brilliant. Helpful. Miniature fly? Yeah, probably. I don't know if they're... Is it fruit fly? Is that another name for them? Or fruit fly is the big ones? No, I think fruit fly is the tiny ones. Maybe. Either way, they're the tiny little ones. And I'm just being... I'm always plagued by them. I'm pretty sure they like live in Leo's plants, and that's why there's always so many of them. We need to get another carnivorous plant. We used to have one, but it kind of died. But I want to get another one. We had a pitcher plant. Ooh. Stretch break. Is my drink clear now that I moved it? Yay! But yeah, they really like this light. Hello. Would you like to say anything for the stream? Would you like to say anything for the people at home? No? You're stinky. Are you stinky? Are you stinky? Right, back to painting. Let's give this paint a bit of a shake up again. How's his hand going? Kinda don't like how it turned out with the hand, but I'm gonna commit to it. It might look better once it's been shaded a bit. It's off camera. It's like just on camera there. Wonder if it's... Give me a second. I'm just gonna hide that for 2 secs. We're gonna try a thing. What if I spin this round like that? Maybe move it like there. You used to live next to a wine factory, probably know what it's called, like a vineyard. They used to flood the area when it was more active season. Oh yeah. Yeah, the gnats, just little fruit fly fuckers. Little fuckers. Little dirty feckers. Oh, I don't know why I'm going like Irish. Like flood the area and you couldn't open the windows to let that led to the street without them trying to break in. Yeah, where I used to live used to get a similar thing every year, but with flying ants. I don't know what it was about flying ants in the city I used to live in, or if it's like a UK wide thing or what, but flying ant season, there'd be thousands of them in the air. And if you had your windows open, you had flying ants in your house. It was the worst. I hated it. Right, how does that look? Is that better? I mean, that's pretty much the same spot, right? It's pretty much where it was. Like here. Okay. But I now don't have a mic stand, like camera arm in the way. I think it was a bit further over. Like that. So I can lean in better because I don't have this knobbly bit that's here in the way of my face. This should be better. A sea of little monsters going crazy on the windows. Yeah, pretty much. Like, you could go outside and you could see them in the air with flying ants. I'm sure it was very similar with the gnats. The seagulls, I used to live on the coast, and the seagulls would go absolutely nuts as well. They'd be everywhere, just catching flying ants out of the sky. Right, so in theory now, I should be less off screen while painting. We can hope. Let me move my mic a bit closer. Natural selection. It would be, but the fuckers survive. That's the problem. Like, it's natural selection, but also these things still plague the air. These things still happen every year and they're a nightmare. Because that's basically how they just survive off of, like, there's thousands of us, so some of us will survive, and then the ones that do will create thousands more. It's basically it. That's the entire premise of bugs. The only ones that are kind of cool in that regard, I can't remember what they're called. I think it's a species of cicada. But they're known as like the mathematicians of the animal world. And they spend like 13 years underground, and they come out at once to mate. But they come out like within a window of a few days of each other. And that's insane that they could get that window right over a course of like 13 years. And because of how sparse and in between the sessions that they come out are, predators can't adapt to them. So the ecosystems they live in, like, they're not predated on very hard because the things that live there, like, are not able to adapt to eating them. Let's turn the music down a touch, just so I'm not being competed with too much. But I can't remember what they're called. It's a species of cicada, I'm pretty sure. I'm still coming off camera. It helped a bit, but not enough, clearly. I hope my nose isn't visible there. Oh, it's not good. Surprised we haven't had any Doom music yet. I'm not a big heavy metal person when it comes to music, but Doom music goes hard. I'm trying to paint this spot on the hand, and no matter how much paint I'm putting on this brush, this spot is just staying black. There we go. I don't know how I feel about the slightly stripy hands, but here we are. This is what we get. It'll darken out with the shade, it's fine. Let's do his abs. In the south of France, when you were a kid, there were these very irritating caterpillars, an invasive species, that would get everywhere and just stay in the area for weeks. Oh, that's fun. Love that. We just get silverfish now. Those things are annoying as well. What's a silverfish? They're these gross little bug things. I don't know how you describe them. They're really small and they multiply really fast. They like living in the damp and they invade all of your like flour and grains and stuff in your cupboards. And they just infest. And they're harmless, but they're like really annoying. And they're really ugly. I feel like there's a good chance if you look up silverfish, it's just going to come up with Minecraft. Shall I show you? Let's have a look at some silverfish, shall we? There you go. These guys. And also these guys. I don't know why there's pictures of... Like, these are not silverfish. That's not a silverfish. That is. They're really tiny. Like, they're really tiny, but... They just get... They just invade. They, like, hide under your fridge or under your microwave. And, like, places like that is where they'll multiply. And then they eat all of your grains, all of your carbs. And they're just really annoying. They're hard to get rid of. Because they multiply so fast. I was going to say they replicate really fast. They replicate too fast. There's a cat hair on me. And on my model. Cat hair do just be in the air. I am so covered in cat hair. It's just everywhere. She sheds so much, and because she's a white cat and most of my clothes are dark, it just shows so much. I seem to be painting on camera a bit better now. I think the move helped. Dumb question, do we get cicadas in the summer? No, we don't get cicadas here. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that. Because they would drive me insane. We get crickets. But yeah, we don't have those little screaming wow, 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 wow bugs. I would like legitimately throw myself from the Eiffel Tower. I know of cicadas for two reasons: Animal Crossing and anime. Slightly smacked to the microphone there. Apologies. They're mostly in the south, so at least you can avoid them and still be in France. I've been to France a whole once in my life. It was for a school trip, and we went to Normandy. We went to see the big tapestry. The Bayeux, I think. Is that how you say it? Bayeux? Bayeux? You've never been outside of France? Damn. I've been to a few places. I've been to France, I've been to Mallorca, been to Cyprus, been to America. That's kind of it. As far as outside of the UK goes. Within the UK, I don't think I've ever been further north than London. Vacations, yeah, that's where most of like me going to foreign countries has been. It's been through holidays with the family. The only time I've been to France was with school, though. But yeah, like Mallorca and Cyprus and stuff were holidays. Yeah, one of the gnats landed on me. Get tay fuck. Fucking hate these things. You bourgeois motherfucker. That was back when my family had money. And back when going to those countries wasn't like a legitimate, like, safety concern. Because multiple of them had attacks and also are like, you know, dangerously close to certain areas that you don't really want to be right now. One of those times, the hotel we went to was all inclusive, Incredible time. Incredible. That's how you know we had money. Honestly, all inclusive. I dream to one day live in that luxury again. That was a good time. That was good shit. Also COVID. Yeah, that too. That definitely didn't help. Get a fuck. And we have to do that thing where you get a thing of like a bowl of water, put some dish soap in it, and then put a light above it, so they all land in it, and then they drown because of the dish soap. All inclusive. Yeah, that's you probably have another word for it. Basically, when you pay for a hotel, and you pay extra so that all food that you eat at the hotel is free. So you get free drinks, you get free meals, you know, you can go to their snack bars for free, all of that the whole time you're there. And man, that was a great time. Hop in the swimming pool, have a little swim, climb out the swimming pool, have a burger for free on the bar that's next to the swimming pool, eat it, immediately go back into the swimming pool, get cramp because it's not a good idea to be eating and swimming at the same time, and do it again for 2 weeks. Service complete. Complete? Complete? But yeah, I mean, I guess that probably means a very similar thing. Complete service. That's some bourgeois shit right there, right? We did it once, and it was so good. They had on one side of the pool, they had a hot dog stand, and on the other they had a burger stand. Amazing. Amazing. That must have been like 15 years ago now. Maybe slightly less. Like 12, 13 years perhaps. I think I still have a knife I got from Mallorca. I got gifted it. Is it in my drawer? Oh, maybe not. I don't know where it would be. If it's not immediately in my drawer, I have no idea where it would be. definitely still have it, but the matter of where. Oh well, it's green. It's just a green, like, Swiss Army knife style, like, multi-tool knife that said Mallorca on it. This drawer. That does have my throwing knives in it, though. And also my arc lighter. I love this thing. Look at this fancy little lighter. Look at this. It just looks like a lighter, but lightning. Being middle class in France means being okay, but like that's about it. Never went far, never for more than a week, and it certainly couldn't keep going after my siblings started college. Yeah, similar vibe. My sister went to university. We were never, like, wealthy. We just occasionally had, like, a bit extra money, and then, you know, some years didn't. We were never, like, wanting, you know? We were never going hungry or not being able to afford rent or food, but we were never, like, living lavishly, you know? We had one all-inclusive holiday. And that's why I'm never having kids. Because fuck 'em. Why would I ever want kids? Why would I ever want to just basically tax myself with extra responsibility and money drain? In this economy, nah. Nah, mate. Right, is that all of his torso done? His face. I really don't understand the appeal with having kids. There's a bug on... Did it fly? No, no, it's still on his knuckle. Fucking things. Get a fuck. I never understood the appeal of kids. I don't understand. Even less so why everybody feels the need to have their own instead of adopting. There's so many kids that already exist in the world and would love to have someone who looks after and cares for them. And people are like, yeah, but this one looks like me. I only want to have a child if it looks like me, and I won't look after it or care for it otherwise. I'm off camera again. That's fine. A lot of his face doesn't really matter. It's going to be glowing. Does he have 4 horns? He does. He do indeedy. It's like a crown of thorns. You're young, so that might change, but adopting feels like the best thing right now, especially seeing how expensive IVF is. Honestly, adopting, even if I ever did want kids, adopting would be what I'd want to do. I don't think I'm ever going to want to, but if I did, that's what I would do. Just his wings to go. I don't know how much, if it might be easier to dry brush these, like really lightly. Your genes are fucked too, so you'd feel guilty passing them on. Yeah, same. Between me and Leo, we have too many hereditary issues. I mean, my depression and ADHD are both genetic, so... And my insomnia. My dad has insomnia, and his dad had insomnia. Got one mustache hair that just wants to stick up. I got all of the worst traits from both my parents. This mustache hair. Do you want to settle down there, buddy? We good. Where's me dry brush? Dry brush. So we get like a little dibby dab. Little dibby dab dab. And then we really just... So it's just a light dusting, and then... much quicker than doing it like by hand. I mean, obviously I'm still doing it by hand, but you know what I mean. Dry brush. This one mustache hair will not settle down. The thing about dry brushing is it works really well, but you have to be really careful when you get to other areas that you don't want to be that colour. But I mean, look at that. That worked pretty well. Look at all those. The veins really like pop now. That worked really well. Dry brushing also just gives everything like this really interesting texture that I really like. Which I think is specifically added to by the fact that I use a makeup brush. So there's so many bristles that it fills it in with like thousands of dots. So it gives it a really nice texture. Dry brushing is so good. Dry brushing is really good for doing glow if you don't have an airbrush. It's really good for painting fire as well. Because you basically start at the base and then dry brush, and then with each darker color you dry brush lighter, so you fill in less and less and less, so you start off really bright in the middle, and then all the ridges and bits sticking out get darker and darker with each color you go, until you get to like the smoky bits at the top or like furthest away from the source. It can work really well. Some people are insanely good at it. But the hard part is being consistent and also subtle enough. Because sometimes you have a bit too much paint on your brush and you start and you just slather on a bit of paint and you're like, no, not the effect I was after. But yeah, I love it. I find it so satisfying. Spotify keeps buzzing, or is it my microphone maybe? Try temporarily turning off my keyboard. Maybe that's interfering. Where's my phone? That may also not be helping. I actually don't know. Huh. But yeah, the challenge comes in when it's like, how do I dry brush an area where you know, there's stuff close to it? Like, how do I get under that horn without putting paint on that horn that I don't want to be there? You can dry brush with smaller brushes, but the effect's slightly worse and it takes a million years longer. There's also a couple little bits where paint has come off, probably from me handling the model. I'm going to paint them in with a detail brush. There we go. What should I do for the inside of his wings? I feel like they should be a different colour than the grey. I could lightly dry brush them with a dark red. And use a different brush, like a smaller one. Where's the bristle cover for this brush gone? Don't know. That is not clean. I'm just going to leave that in the water. I'll probably clean that after stream. Is there that one, bigger one? That one? That good enough? That is solid. That's not going to be fun to dry brush with. Don't know if I have any better ones. Dry brushing with a smaller brush is going to be not fun, but you know, needs must. I think this brush is going to be too small for this. Kinda works. Don't know how well that shows up on camera. Can't really see that on camera. It's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty nice. The goal is for it to be quite not super subtle, but like not super obvious. Just a dusting, just a highlight over the rough parts, so the black is still there underneath, and I think it's achieving that. Right, the other wing. The other wing's going to be a bit harder because it's a bit more curled inwards. I need a brush with like a 45-degree angle on it. This one can be slightly less subtle, to be fair. It's not going to be as visible. What I need is furry dentist equipment. Exactly! Like the little right angle things that they use to stab at your teeth, but with a brush on the end. I've been saying for so long, like, miniature painting needs that so you can get into all these really hard to reach nooks and crannies. There you go, so you got like that nice subtle red on the inside. And then like the grey, the light grey dusting the outside. I think that looks pretty damn good. Pretty happy with that. The light reflecting makes it kind of hard to see. But now we move on to liquid skill. They probably already exist, they're just custom made. Probably, or maybe not even custom made. You might be able to actually just get them if you just look for them. Can I get all of the red out of this brush? Still got red in it. Unfold and refold this tissue. Give me some fresh tissue. Still got red in it. Oh, there's that bristle cover. Still got red in it. This red does not want to come out of this brush. Look like a mafioso trying to get info out of that brush. We good? We done? No more red? There's still a hint of it. You know what? We use a different brush. It's fine. I don't care. Where's my liquid skill? Right, you're going to see why this is called liquid skill, assuming that this is a good place to actually showcase this. Where to start? I guess I painted his legs first, so they'll be the most dry. So you get a nice bit of Null Oil. Other brands of paints are available. There's a gnat on my hand and there. Fuck me. These things are fucking everywhere. Null Oil. And then we'll start with the hoof. Brush that in there. Try and wick up a bit of it. Don't want too much. But as you can see, it like, well, it's a bit glossy, so it's hard to see on camera, but it basically brings back the shadow and contrast. It can muddy things though, you know, light colours get very dirtied by it. Skill or scale? Skill! As in talent. Although, to be fair, technically also scale, because the thing with minis is their size means that, you know, shadows aren't accurately represented by actual shadows. So you use shades to fill in those shadows, but it makes your models look a lot better when applied correctly. But also can be very much overused and abused, like I do on a lot of my models. I have a whole Space Marine army that's primarily white, and this stuff makes them look really dirty, but at the same time, I've leaned into that rather than touching them up to be nice and bright and clean, because they're warriors. They're literally soldiers. They should be dirty. They're on a battlefield. The only reason they'd be totally pristine is if they've just arrived. And I want my Space Marines to look like they've been fighting. But you see that? You see how that's really darkening all those dark bits? And now the highlights are less like... They're less just paint. It looks less like there's just grey paint on black, and now looks like there's highlights leading into crevices and shadows. And that's why we call it liquid skill, because it just gets you the fuck out of every problem you've created. If you have ever worried about debt or tax returns, you just slather this stuff all over that shit. You will never have financial problems again. If I changed my YouTube profile picture to just a pot of Nuln Oil, my channel will probably do so much better. And unironically, it genuinely might, because it's a meme. It just works. It just works. Having relationship problems and considering a divorce? Fucking Artemis. We've told you not to push that plant pot over so many times. Leave the plant pot alone. She's only started harassing this plant like 2 days ago, and she manages to push it over every time if we don't stop her. I'm gonna put Nuln Oil on you. You cretinous creature. Do you see what I mean though? By this stuff is just like liquid skill. Having to keep an eye on Artemis while painting now. You know, it almost feels like it's cheating, Nuln Oil. It's just so... It's so good. You can get it in different colors as well. Like, if you were doing dirt, you can get brown, like, shades. You can get, like, dark green ones. Like, you can get them to go on different colors. Nuln Oil kind of just works with everything because it's just dark, like, not quite black grey. So it kind of just works with everything, but it does make things look dirtier, which is why you'd get shades that, like, match the color you're going for. But for this, it's perfect. I do have a brown shade, but I don't know why I would use that on this guy. And it's also a glossy one, so it makes everything look wet. Which is really useful when I'm making stuff look like mud, which is why I have it. Oh no, I got some on his horn. Oh, I got some on my keyboard. No, it kind of started to dry before I got there. It's okay, we got it off. I've already done it on his horn, so like another coat would be really dark. Hasn't worked out quite so well on the hands. I could possibly do a second coat on those and see if it helps once they've dried. That's the other thing with Nuln Oil, is because it's so thin, you don't lose detail. Like, a lot of paints are thick enough that if you, the more coats you do, you know, the more you smooth out details. But because Nuln Oil is so thin, all you do is just darken out the colour underneath. I forgot he has horns on his gauntlet there that I need to paint. But that's fine. Right, where haven't I Nuln Oiled? Or have I Nuln Oiled everything now? Fuck off. How are there... Literally, I've killed dozens of these things in this stream alone. Ah, his wings. I haven't done his wings yet. I'm skilling everywhere. I know, I skilled all over the place. I've already done his glaive as well, so we won't be doing it on that. But yeah, I mean, already look, his legs now, you can see it's all come together a lot more. So it brought my highlighting that I did together, you know? Probably, do I want to coat the whole wing? I mean, I can try. And the nice thing about this one is it dries matte, so it doesn't result in glossy. If I wanted it to be glossy, I could go over with a glossy coat, like a clear coat, and make it glossy. Or the earth shade I've got is glossy. You can get a non-glossy version of that one as well. In fact, I think they actually discontinued glossy shades because people do just go over in clear coats. So it became kind of redundant. But I like them because I feel like you can make something look more like oil. Like, if I used this to make it look like glossy oil had filled in a gap, I think it would look more like that was glossy oil than if I used a clear coat on it afterwards. But personal preference. Outside of one wing done. This is skilling music, yeah. Hades. I haven't done the rock he stood on yet either. But who knows how I want to do that one? I don't know yet. Probably volcanic-y. Like a dark ashy brown. Fill in the cracks with more glowy magma. Just slather this all over his wings. No, you're not meant to be up there either, Artemis. Down. Artemis. Problem is she doesn't respond to being told not to do something, like, at all. So, like, trying to teach her that she's not supposed to do things is really hard because you just have to basically say no and then physically move her and hope that she'll eventually learn. And she doesn't. She'll keep doing it anyway. How's the dragon doing, by the way? Yeah, she's good. She's fine. She's sleeping. But yeah, she's doing good. Artemis has started trying to get into her tank and attack her every time I open it to feed her. So I also have to physically prevent Artemis from getting inside the tank every time I need to feed Koshak. And every time I lean over to grab a bug out of the bug tub to give to Koshak, Artemis will use that as an opportunity to try and get inside. Which is not helpful. Artemis got that bloodlust? Yeah, for real. She's a ragdoll. She's not meant to be predatory. Don't do it, Artemis. I can see... No, Artemis. No. That's the third time. She just doesn't respond to stern voices or telling off at all. Artemis. Artemis. No. And the problem is once she starts, She won't stop. So she's decided now that she has to be a problem. Stop attacking my headphone cable. She's decided she has to be a problem, so she starts being a problem in any way she can. I just told you no. No. She immediately jumped back up onto Leo's desk after I took her off for harassing things on his desk. It's like trying to look after a child that just is determined to disobey you in every way it can. I just said I don't want to be a parent. And yet here I am. Don't do it. Don't do it. Thank you. She walked away. Problem child. It's like she's got so many toys. She's got so many things she can play with, that she can chase, that she can attack. And she's like, I've got to specifically be and attack the things that I'm specifically not allowed to. I don't care about my toys. I need to attack the things that I'm not allowed to attack. You know, like really expensive headphone cables. Or cosplay projects that Leo's working on. Those are what I've got to attack. Oh, liquid skilling. It's cats, that's to be expected. I know, but I've never had... I've been brought up with cats. I've been around cats my entire life, and they've never been this, like, constantly, like, actively problematic. They usually learn after a few times. But she just doesn't. Artemis. Artemis. Stop. Stop being the way you are. I'll keep you in air jail. Yeah, you don't want to be in air jail, do you? I'm now covered in cat hair again. Purr. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, right, this guy's pretty much now... It's just waiting for him to dry and he's, like, done. Apart from the base. Oh, the horns. Forgot about the horns on his gauntlet. But, like... Mans is pretty much done, apart from the glows, which are yet to come. Like, another example I can show you of Nuln Oil is on this guy. You can see on his pauldron, like, around the sides it fills in a bit, or like on his backpack it fills in the crevices a bit, on his helmet it just fills in the gaps and creates shadow. Actually gonna finish it in one stream too. Yeah, and to be fair, I also did a lot of painting off stream. Like, it was painted a substantial amount between streams. So she's knocked over the water spray over here onto Leo's guitar. Luckily no water went on his guitar. Oh. But yeah, he's pretty much finished. I mean, he's still not finished. We've still got the glow to go. How do I want to do the horns on his gauntlet? Oh, I touched the null noil area. That was stupid of me. Is there a fingerprint on here now? A little bit. Hang on. Let me just... Cool. I'm thinking I might just do it white and then just null noil it so it just looks like a dirty bone. Keep it simple, you know? Let's do slightly off, like slightly grey. There's a problematic amount of skilling happening here. Yeah, I know. Like, proper Warhammer professionals would probably argue I used too much, but fuck them. It looks good. Look at this guy. Look how good that looks. This dude's looking great. I might actually make his wings glossy. I can't decide. The inside looks really good. It looks better in real life than on camera, but you can kind of... That doesn't look too bad on camera, actually. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. I won't lie. Shaky, shaky. Do you think it's shaken enough yet? It's a grey, so shaking them as much as possible. The greys and whites in Warhammer, they get a bit chunky. So I put metal BBs in all of my paints because it helps mix them anyway, but for greys and whites it helps stop them clump just a little bit. Right, we want that one probably. You want to focus on the model there, camera? You'll see what I mean when I add the null noil to this by it like dirties up whites and light colours. It will become very apparent. I'm really loving that the camera keeps focusing on my brushing hand instead of the model I'm brushing. Has it been doing that the whole stream? It's so hard to get into spaces and paint bits without painting on bits you don't want to paint on. Because you have to go in at all these angles. And that landed on me and I didn't get it in time. Bad time to get shaky hands, yeah. Indeed. I'm out of ADHD meds at the moment. And I haven't been sent another batch. And the first couple days off my meds, I was getting like headaches and I was getting shakes, and trying to paint models was not a good time. Are the horns adequately whited up? Methinks so. Let's just let things dry for a second, shall we? Show off another project I'm working on. Like Warhammer painting, but digital. I bought a course on texture painting in Blender that I've been following, and it's been very good, and I've been enjoying it a lot. And it's like making a video game asset is the idea, and it's you create a tower. Oh, that is the wrong project. There it is. Let's show it. Beep boop. There we go. Oh, I turned my keyboard off. Right. Balrog at home on timeout corner. Yeah, he's on dry for a minute corner. So this is the little tower I've been making. I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. I think it's really cute. I think it's pretty nice. So, yeah, all of the textures hand painted, hand drawn. Everything's like really low poly, so you can see on this one. But if I went back to this view, you can already kind of see, but like... is that... Why can I not see what I'm selecting? Oh, I'm in texture paint mode. Shouldn't be on this screen. There we go. You can see all the polys. Pretty low poly. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. I like it. I think it looks cute. I think I've done a pretty good job. I think that looks good. It's like painting Warhammer but digital. And like if I make a mistake I can just undo, which is nice. Anyway. Back to the Balrog Balrakdos. Gotcha. Get fucked. There's another one. On the plant, on the water pot. Just drown. Fuck you. Right, which brush? Not that one. Give me the null oil brush. Do we think that the paint on his arm, the horns on his arm, have dried enough? I think so. Is it unscented, or are you not seeing right? Oh, the tower? It's a bit wonky. Deliberately, it's a bit wonky. It should be centered on the actual platform. Hang on, let me go back to it. It might not be centered in the view, because I will have centered it on certain objects, but like you can see the cutout here is perfectly centered. From above it doesn't look centered, but that's because the tower is slightly wonk. But that's deliberately. Because then it looks a bit cuter and like rougher. So it's slightly wonky. I haven't gotten to colouring in the bricks and stuff yet. That will be a stage. Could use this camera setup for, you know, when you've got like League of Legends players and stuff that have their hand cam, and it's got like their APM and stuff because they're like Osu players. There's another one. I'm gonna start doing Osu streams. I was never very good at Osu. I think the only rhythm game I've ever been any kind of good at is Beat Saber, and even that I'm not that good at. DDR players feet cam, yeah, exactly. Show feet for free. Go get off cat hair on my brush. So yeah, you'll see immediately like, it dirties up that bone, but that's kind of what I want in this instance. Like, I want it to look dirty. So that's a good thing. But I could solve it by using the Null Oil to fill in all the little tiny crevices and gaps. And then afterwards, like, retouch it up with white. You're too uncoordinated for rhythm games? Yeah. I mean, same, to be honest. TBH. This guy is like looking like he's pretty much done. It's still drying in a lot of places. Cat hairs are trying to invade everything. The rock at his feet I'll do off camera because I don't want to get paint on any of his other parts, so I'm going to need to be really careful. And it's going to be a lot easier to be really careful when there's not a phone here. So I'll probably do the rocks at his feet off camera. But we can start doing the white on his scythe. We're now doing basically Null Oil but with white. But it's also not a wash. We're going to be manually doing it with a precision brush. But it's basically we're doing it where Null Oil fills in. I've only got half an hour left on the stream. It feels like it's gone really fast, but I also feel like I've got a lot done. One thing I may end up doing with the scythe, a really good way to get that lightning to fill in the lava, which I may do on the base because I'm lazy, is I got this contrast paint, which is similar to Nuln Oil, but instead of being a shade, it's a really harsh contrasted color. So you do a base coat and you do a contrast paint, and it fills in the color of that model, but still leaves in the darks and the highlights. They're really recent when it comes to Warhammer paints. I'll show a couple of examples, but they basically added a whole new way of painting. Let me get, yeah, there's some examples. Cool. So you can see like the way these models look. They've got highlights and they've got recesses, but that's basically entirely done with like one color base coat and one contrast coat, and you get that effect. And it basically makes painting minis really easy. Like for people that want to play the game and don't want to paint their models, contrast paints they're like a one and done. They make it so easy. I like painting models, but contrast paints can look really good for certain effects. They can look really good for magic. I've done a couple models with like lightning bolts and things that I did contrast with. This guy's the lightning coming off of this guy. I need my sorry, camera back. The lightning coming off of this guy's gauntlet was done with a contrast paint, as were his gauntlets, like the claws. Although I did highlight them a little bit with white anyway, but that was a contrast. They can just look really good, and for cracks that I want to be glowy, I have changed camera again, but I've got this yellow one that I can do a base coat of white in the cracks and then just lightly just drip the yellow in, and it will just fill in all the cracks, and it will be darker in some spots and lighter in some spots, like you would expect something liquid but glowing to be. Like, could potentially look really good. So I may try that on the base of the model. I can test it before I do the actual glaive. I can test it on the base, and then on the glaive I'll airbrush all the stuff I want, and then maybe use the yellow to fill in all the cracks, the contrast, and then maybe touch in a few bits with white to really make it look like it's glowing. The organ started as I showed the point was so fucking funny. But yeah, honestly, some contrast paints just like, they can speed things up so much. That looks like it was done by hand. That doesn't look like a contrast. Where's a good example? Yeah, there's a good example. Or there, see? But you get the shadows and the dark areas, but you also get the highlights. Like, they're a really good addition. They're really cool. Just speed painting, basically. Yeah, see, that would have been done with one, I think. The magic on that. And that looks really cool. We would have done a thicker, like, and then lightened it out as they got to the top. Like, contrast is so cool. They do genuinely just Warhammer made easy, you know? Ooh, is that a metallic contrast? That's cool. I have a contrast. Do I have it here? Yeah. I have a contrast called Dreadful Visage, and this one's not very good. If I'm honest, every time I've had to use it, I've had to use like 3 or 4 coats of it, because it just doesn't... It's like a really thin contrast. A lot of these are quite heavily pigmented and quite vivid, but Dreadful Visage just doesn't... Oh, that's what it's named after. Are there any pictures of someone using it? Is that someone using it? If so, you can see what I mean. It's almost just felt like I was using a shade. Like, I actually used it on his horns, to be fair. You can't tell because the horns and hooves were already quite dark, so it just tinted them slightly. But yeah, it's not a very strong one. I've used it on the flesh of certain characters. Did they use it on her hair there? They must have done a few coats of that to get it that vivid. But yeah, I always found myself whenever I was using it to have to use like multiple coats because it wasn't like as intense as other contrasts I've seen. I think that's a case of it there as well. But it's interesting. It is quite interesting. Is that like a side-by-side comparison? That's interesting. That's cool to see. Anyway, back to the model. We've got 20 minutes. Can I get the white on his glaive done in 20 minutes? We shall see. Skipped it. I'm just gonna skip that song. There's so much Halo. There's so much Halo, but so much of the Halo music isn't very good. I'm just getting Halo songs. Here we go. That's... How are there so many of these things? It's not even like our apartment's humid, because I have an air conditioner which cools the apartment down so it's not warm and dehumidifies the apartment. And yet these things are fucking everywhere. Our windows are closed, we've got a dehumidifier and a cooler running, and yet these flies are everywhere, and there's more of them than I've ever experienced. I don't understand. I'm still really worried about trying to make him, like, his body glow, because his body looks really good and I don't want to ruin it. Like, I just don't want to try and make it look like it's glowing and just undo all of the work that I've done up to this point. I'm scared. I don't have enough faith in my own abilities to not be scared of ruining things. Alright, I think the easiest way to do this is going to be to just have him on the table. There's nowhere I can just... I can't really hold him. Literally holding my breath. See, as soon as I picked him up, it kind of went to shit. This is really hard. I have to be so precise. Loki, the white, especially on camera, the white as is looks really cool. It just looks like a white glow. If I just went over that with a really light airbrush, it would just look like a white glow. That would look really cool. But it's not what I'm after. However, proof of concept that it does actually look cool. If I can get this done in time, we can try the yellow contrast to see how it looks without worrying too much, because the airbrush will cover it up. So I could test it. This is so stressful. You know when they're like... Sorry. I started talking and then realized I cannot talk and do that at the same time. You know when they're like brain surgeons are able to work between like the beats of their heart? That's what I feel like. Time to blast Devil Trigger for concentration purposes. I need to blast some Doom music. Give me BFG. Hold on. Bury the Light and Devil Trigger hit hard, not gonna lie. But do they hit harder than Life is Strange dance scenes with the music turned off? I fucking love the Doom soundtrack. It's so good. They have a song in this. I think it might literally be called like Hell's Choir or something, where they were like, what would, you know, Hell's music sound like? And so they got like 100 heavy metal singers together, I think it was 100, something like that. A lot of heavy metal singers, and they got them all together to form a choir and just had these dudes like screaming. It's so cool. But yeah, I mean, BFG Division is one of my favorite Doom songs, I think. That and just the classic Doom theme. This would be the worst time for me to get hiccups. Here's a question. Do you have a different word for hiccups in France? Or are they just universally called hiccups? You call them hokwe? 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 That's interesting. So they're not universally called hiccups. Huh. I think most of this part of the scythe is lava, with the exception of like a couple of rocks. Avouale, it said okay. Avouale okay. Okay. Part of me wonders if I should start learning French again. Should I start Duolingoing French? I should probably keep up on Japanese, which I have actually been learning, rather than starting something new. Just abandon Japanese. It's probably better to learn a language and then go to another language, I imagine, than to try and learn two at once. Then again, I've never fully learned a language, so what do I know? God, this music goes so hard. This goes almost as hard as the Miku Dorime cover. Learning a language for you is about use, like you managed to learn English because you needed to understand the media that you were consuming. What do the languages you want to learn bring you? Like, what makes you use them? I mean, I just think French is a very pretty language. Japanese, like, the weeb in me is like, I can watch anime without the subtitles. But low-key, I do a lot of my consuming of media while doing other things. So I don't watch much anime at all anymore because I want to play video games and watch it at the same time, and I hate dubs. So that's part of it. But also I just think it would be good to know another language, And like, in terms of how many places speak them, a lot more places speak French than Japanese, French is, like, fairly substantially spoken worldwide. Parts of Canada speak French. A lot of Africa speaks French. But Japan speaks Japanese. And maybe I want to watch my bizarre French cartoons about Tour de France cyclists being kidnapped in the OG language. If I recall, that film doesn't actually have any talking in it. If you go to Guadeloupe or Martinique, French is useful. Yeah. I don't know if I'm ever going to go to either of those countries. But, if I went to Canada, I feel like it would be useful to know just in case. Although I imagine in even the French-speaking parts of Canada, most of the people probably still speak English. Because native English speakers are basically the only people that don't learn another language. Painting off camera again. Don't think I'm going to finish the Scython in the stream. We've only got a few minutes left. The Quebec French accent is tough to decipher, so beware if that's how you want to use French. Yeah. regional accents are always hard. It is very much like learning to speak American English and then visiting Scotland. Hearing your first bit of Welsh was quite the experience, yeah. Welsh is a weird accent. I can't do a Welsh accent if I try. I can do Scottish and Irish. Scotland. Little bit of an Irish accent. I mean, I'm not good at either of them, but I can do them. But Welsh, I just cannot. From Wales? No. Scotland forever. This is coming along pretty nicely. We can now see what his like wings and stuff look like. The highlights on the wings have been substantially dulled by the Null Noil, but they were quite aggressive before, so I'm not too worried about that. The red on the inside of the wings is a lot more subtle, which is what I wanted, so... But I mean, this dude's looking... I'm pretty proud of this. This is one of the best models I've painted, I won't lie. I have put the most work into this, I think, compared to any other model I've ever painted, though. So, I would hope... I'd hope it would be one of the best models I've ever painted. Is that a channel there? Yes. So I'll do a little bit more and then I'll probably... Yeah, I'll just finish off this little bit here. And then I shall call it... Tiniest of dabs. Woo, nice. That's, you can really see how the lava's gonna look in that now, though. You can really see it, so That's good. You know, I was looking for my phone. I was looking for my phone earlier, and I was like, oh, I don't know where it is. It's fucking filming, isn't it? Of course it is. Battling your insomnia by not letting it take sleep away from you, by not trying to sleep. Oh, I'm so stupid. I've been also trying to battle my insomnia. I've been trying to brute force myself back into a sleep schedule because I'm starting work on Monday. So I need to have a sleep schedule in place by Monday. I did an all-nighter to reset it and like almost fell asleep and screwed it in the middle of the day. Right, anyway, thank you for watching Bashimi. I appreciate you coming along. Thank you for watching anybody else that watches this or was watching the stream or anybody that gets this far. As always, streams every week, YouTube videos every week. That is all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming. Peace out.